kill, friend and pray. Three characters from Mahabharata.
Kill, friend,
And pray.
and pray. Three characters from Mahabharata.
Time for the rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Time travel, is it possible? Yes or no?
That's a tough one. I don't know.
Favorite Itihasa character?
Uh,
Science or Dharma? In a parallel universe, which profession you would be in?
I would be
Bhagavad Gita. If not Krishna, who can tell us? One incident you would like to change in Itihasa.
I feel the Vastraharan of Draupadi, that was something that I would like to change.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is something segment which most of our people, if we go back to our analytics on YouTube, this is where people skip to.
Okay.
Even if they put 1.5 here, they put 1x and say, let me listen what rapid fire it was.
Okay.
Because I'm sure we had some preparation on questions. We talk about at least the structure. But these are not questions we don't give it to you, anybody.
Right.
And these are written right on the spot in the morning.
Okay.
So I get up in the morning before the podcast, I just pray to the God and just write it.
All right.
So it's like very flat and you can answer it in one few questions.
Sure.
And one good thing which we give, because it's Dharma, you can say pass. I don't want to answer.
Okay.
Okay. Shall we start?
Sure.
Okay. Rapid. Okay. Time travel. Is it possible? Yes or no?
Scientifically, no.
Dharmically?
Again, there's no evidence.
Okay. Favorite Itihasa character?
Draupadi.
Mahabharata or Ramayana?
Ramayana.
Science or Dharma?
Dharma.
So, kill, friend and pray. Three characters from Mahabharata.
Kill, friend,
And pray.
and pray. Three characters from Mahabharata.
Mahabharata.
Kill, Duryodhan,
Okay.
pure evil. Friend, Krishna.
Krishna.
It is the best friend possible. Pray, because I've said Krishna before, I think that's a tough one. I don't know.
Okay.
But Krishna, I would like to have as a friend rather than put him in a
Prayer
pedestal.
thing, okay.
You know?
So you must pray to Vidura then. You went for the knowledge or part of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. In a parallel universe, we are talking about multiple universe. In a parallel universe, which profession you would be in?
I would be a librarian.
Librarian.
Yeah.
Librarians don't read. They just take in the custody of
But
it.
just the whole idea of being surrounded by books.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Bhagavad Gita. If not Krishna, who can tell us?
There's actually a book. Sorry, this is rapid fire, but there's actually a book very similar.
Uddhav Gita.
There's Uddhav Gita, but there's also a book called Yogvashisht,
Wow.
where Vashisht teaches Sri Ram
Yeah.
somewhat similar principles. The message is a little different though. But so I think it has to be something of that stature.
Okay.
You know, one of the Brahma rishis.
One of the Brahmarshis have to
Yeah.
tell the Gita.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Which character would you be like to be born as? Let's say next Yuga turn comes. After Kali Yuga, there's this Treta Yuga. Sorry, Sat Yuga, then Treta Yuga.
Right.
So let's say till before the next three Yugas, which character you would like to be born as?
You mean anybody from...
Any of these three Yugas, you pick up.
I think I would like to be one of the first generations, either in the Chandravansh or the Suryavansh.
Suryavansh.
You know, you're just
Ikshvaku.
setting up, Ikshvaku Vanshi. And you're setting up processes and rules, laying down the rules and all that, you know, for Dharma to prosper.
Wow. Nice, nice. One incident you would like to change in Itihasa.
I feel the Vastraharan of Draupadi, that was something that I would like to change, even though it led ultimately to the Mahabharata battle. But I personally feel that is the worst of humanity. That given the power, I would have changed that.
Salute you. When I read that in critical version, I had tears in my ears. It can't be. It should not have happened.
Yeah.
Great stuff. One temple you would like to visit?
I haven't been to Kedarnath yet, so Kedarnath and Badrinath, that's where I want
Let's
to
go together. I have also not been.
Yeah, sure, let's plan.
How many countries you have visited?
I think about 20 odd countries.
20 odd. Which one you would like to visit and you're not yet?
I want to visit Indonesia.
Ah.
I've been to Bali,
But
but
not-
I want to go to Borobudur and all
Okay.
those places because I like exploring ancient temples. I've been to Cambodia, I've been to Angkor Wat, so that is done. So now I think Borobudur is somewhere I want to go, and Jakarta.
Jakarta.
Yeah.
Good. So 14 lokas.
Yeah.
Which loka you would like to settle in?
Oh, Brahmalok. That's why there's no pralay.
There's no pralay, so just want to stay in Brahma.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
So just sit right next to Brahmadev, holding his feet, and like, don't let me go.
So, one last question, if I can ask. What's the most surprising thing you discovered during your research in Itihasa?
I think all these elements of science fiction that you come across. I am a science fiction buff, and I would like to believe that this is based somewhat on reality. I think these are that blew my mind. Every time I came across a Vishwamitra creating a parallel universe, or the calculation running into millions and trillions of years, and even some incidents of not time travel but multiple lives, multiverses, etc. Or how do you say, the time dilation.
Yeah.
It's the concept of time dilation rather than time travel that you find in Purans. I think all those scientific things, when they come, it just suddenly poof.
Are we reading Itihasa or are we reading some science fiction is what you'll think.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I think. I think I said last question, but I'll add it in a different way. Mythology or Itihasa?
I somewhere, follow again in the middle path. I feel not everything is Itihasa. I don't think definitely everything is mythology. There is a lot of truth, but there's a lot of stories also added to make it more palatable and make it more memorable. So I think it's our duty to separate the myths and find out the truth and highlight that.
So mythihasas.
Kind of.
I think that somehow I also believe in that part, because when I say Puranas, if I have to write an autobiography of myself, right, or the person whom I like, if I start writing Itihasa or biography of my Gurudev, I have to elevate him.
Yes.
And in 20th century, 21st century, I'll tell him as the best person.
Yes.
And I have to tell everybody as lower.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my book will not be told or seen by anybody.
Right.
And my greatness of my Gurudev, whom I feel, will not be bigged up. So if I write a Purana of Srita Purana, I will have to make him up. I have to add more stories.
Yeah.
As you said, a lot of truth is there.
Yeah.
But there are certain myths which I have to add.
Right.
To make it a
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
I know how much ever we make an art movie, like great movies which you've
Yes.
got, there should be some songs.
Yes.
And song is a myth,
Yeah.
I would say. So thank you for clarifying that mythology and Itihasa. I think you are right. It's a huge stories. Even in Mahabharata, Ramayana, there are a lot of versions which has myth.
Right.
They've
right.
added. So I think we need to read the critical version, which is the pure Itihasa, if I
Yes.
can take that. Great stuff. Thank you for the rapid fire. I don't know whether it was rapid fire for you or were the questions interesting?
Yes, definitely, because they were not told to me before.
Okay, thank you very much. But before we end, I think for the young people, I categorize young as 18 to 45 because I come in 45. So I still say I'm young. So when people are looking at you who are working on a great profession like medicine, who is actually changing lives, and you are also interested in Sanatana Dharma, if you can give me 3 principles about what one should do to ensure you read or you follow Dharma?
So Pavanji, I think we don't even need 3 principles. I think 1 principle is more than enough. That is explore. Just 1 word, explore. Don't believe what you're hearing. Don't believe what you're watching. Read for yourself. It is not difficult anymore. Everything is available at the click of a button in any language that you want. And whatever language you're comfortable in, there are multiple versions that are available. You can always compare 2 different versions to arrive at what is the common things about them. So if you ever have questions, if you ever have doubts, I say, don't go to someone or the other to ask. Why don't you search? Why don't you apply your brains, and see? That way you will also remember things more. Whenever that's what our teachers also used to tell us, do it yourself.
Yeah.
Solve the question. So you solve the equation yourself, then you'll remember. And that's how things work in our mind. So if you want to remember these things, if you want to pass on these things to the next generation, there's no other option but to read. So it's great that, internet is there. Tomorrow the sun might, fire another solar flare at us. We'll get aurora everywhere. And, the satellites are shot and internet is gone. So what will we do?
Yeah.
Right? So it is not just for yourself, it's for your future generations, it's for your society, it's for your community, it's for your whole country and the world, because we always talk about the world. We always talk about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So I feel for the entire world to prosper, all of us need to raise our consciousness to a certain level, where we want to live in harmony rather than, being, in a fight for supremacy. So that can only come when we understand the scriptures.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. I think one more question, but I'll add it 2 questions into that.
Okay.
Right. Why should one read any of these scriptures? Like any youth, anybody, forget about youth, they should read these scriptures. And can you suggest 3 books or 2 books apart from your books? I would suggest all of them should read your books for sure. But apart from that, any other 2 books you can suggest to the people? Why
Right.
and what?
So why? Because if you want to know who you are, where you're coming from, your roots, this is your roots. This is the foundation that on which Indian society is built. Not today's Indian society, but the original Indian society pre-invasions. How it was. If you want to understand how your civilization is, what it was built on, it was such an accomplished civilization, which traded with far-off countries, which, the Indus civilization seals are found in Mesopotamia, the coins of Romans are found in Tamil Nadu, there was so much trade that was happening. The entire Southeast Asia, you see Indian influence, massive Indian influence, right from names of the cities, to the culture, to the dances they perform, to the puppet shows they do, to the architecture. There was definitely something extraordinary about this civilization, which impacted so many people, thousands of people over thousands of kilometers. So why are you missing on it? Why don't you want to explore? I would say read, know more. And secondly, I think the books I would suggest, of course, Bhagavad Gita is a must for everybody, but it should be in the right frame of mind.
Okay.
So I feel any random person just picking up Bhagavad Gita and started reading does not have any impact. You just feel that, okay, it's all right, it's a good read, maybe, that's about it. It will not add any value to your life. You have to be in the right frame of mind to pick it up. Any of these books, any of these religious books, Purans you can read anytime because they're stories, more of stories. So that is why they were written, to connect with people at a more mundane level.
Right.
So, but Bhagavad Gita is a must read, but in the right frame of mind. Second, again, I recommend Yogvashisht. I think it's a very beautiful book which weaves the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads through stories within stories within stories.
Wow.
There's multiple stories. So any book lover who likes stories would absolutely love Yogvashisht. It has to be definitely, tried. And third, I would say is, one of the works of the ancient writers, not the religious books, but the other writers. There's so many historical works that have come out. As I said, I was talking about Harsh Charit, Harshvardhan, the king. So there's a book called Harsh Charit, which was written by his court poet,
Okay.
Banabhatta.
Okay.
So he wrote the Harsh Charita. Similarly, there are other books also in each region, One of those, to get a sense of historically how India was. Because the other books will give you the philosophy, they'll also give you a bit about the culture in very ancient times. But these books tell us, they make it more relatable. So, even Kalidasa's work or, so those works, they are set in a time frame that we can relate with.
Yeah.
And even then you see how beautiful India was.
Beautiful. We have one question which we ask every bandhu. Now, when we say bandhu, we actually mean a relationship without a relationship specifically. And we call everybody bandhu, whether it is any gender, any age, anything. So it's a universal thing which was given to us by Gurudev. So we ask for every bandhu who comes here, what is dharma?
I think for me it's very clear. Dharma is the right conduct for the stage of life you are in and the circumstances that you are in. So for example, as a student, your dharma is to study. That's very clear. When you grow up, when you are in a domestic phase of life, where you're in the grihastha ashram, your dharma is to support your family, to support the society, to pursue Kam and Artha through means of dharma, through dharmic means. So I feel, every person can identify his dharma, his or her dharma. Wherever in life you are, which stage you are in, which circumstance you are in, you might be born in a very affluent family, so you may not worry so much about earning money, but then what do you do with that privilege? Yeah. That is what your dharma is. If you have been given that privilege of having so much money that you can use to make someone else's life better, that is your dharma. So I would say it is very personal, it is very individualistic, and every person has to decide his or her own dharma, keeping in mind the moral compass. And not just decide, oh, no, this is my dharma, now I'm going to do only this. My dharma is to party.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very, very much, Vineetji. I think it was a great pleasure talking to you. A lot of things which I wanted to speak have come automatically. I think that's something which I realized with you, because it's not like I have prepared questions and I was asking. And I was this conversation was flowing, and you have told many things which were in my mind to ask you. I think I have not written it down, but I think those were questions which were lingering, and you answered all of them. It's like a Upanishad flowing. We call it, right? Upanishad is sitting with a guru. I'm sure. I was sitting with a mumuksha thing, because I have to learn.
Right.
And this is a learning for all our audience who actually would like to see more and more of people like you coming in. And thank you very much for coming all the way and blessing us with great wisdom.
No, my pleasure completely, Pavanji. Thank you for hosting me. And I hope your audience likes the conversation. And at least even if in 10% of the audience the spark is ignited, I would feel my coming here was justified. And thank you for having me here. I'm definitely not a very learned person, but I'm trying to learn. And the only difference probably is that whatever I learn, I want to share, and that's all. That's the only reason I'm here. So thank you so much.
God bless you, and Shamata.